Oh man, Pop shouldn't have said this. How dare he? I mean, he's right, but how dare he?
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so there's no secret that I absolutely love Gregg Popovich, and I go against a lot of people that have anything really negatively to say about him that has nothing to do with basketball, and you know who those people are. But Popovich, so he actually threw quite a few nuggets down. We already know the biggest thing about Gregg Popovich is his wisdom. He's a very smart man. He's been through quite a bit, and he's always, and I mean always, in teaching mode. That's what makes him special. That's what makes him above a lot of the other coaches that have come and went in the NBA. Popovich, before anything, is a teacher. He understands people, he understands culture, and he is a people person. He is a guy, okay? So let's go ahead and read really quickly before we listen to what Pop had to say. We're gonna read what Tom Petrini had to say, or at least, you know, just quoting what Pop had to say about his teaching role. All right, so here it is. Knowing full well that each one is an individual. We live in a time where there's a lot of insecurity out there. People, especially young athletes, in many situations have been coddled or treated like they're special. So notions like consistency, selflessness, discipline to some people might be a little bit more difficult to get across. So in that sense, there's the challenge that you mentioned, to make sure that everyone understands those underlying principles that make you successful. Whether you're going to be a banker, a doctor, a plumber, a bus driver, and then he makes a joke, God forbid, a journalist, anything like that. And he also went on to say, these guys present opportunities for growth. Each one is different, separate entity, different needs, different emotions, different buttons to push. Malachi Branham, I keep saying that, Malachi Branham, Popovich is the perfect coach for Malachi Branham, different levels of talent. And so putting that all together between coaches is one of the ways you get satisfaction. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Some of the things that Popovich has said, and obviously all of us, we don't know a lot of these players personally. Like, even for myself, like, I've talked to a few players previously, like here and there, or there might be a Spurs player that followed me here and there, but I don't have conversations with them. I don't know them personally. All I can do is just, you know, be the guy looking in, like just a fan looking in. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and make an inference, okay? I'm making an inference based on what I've seen from the San Antonio Spurs front office and the type of guys that they put on the team. Some of these things that Pop said, like as far as these guys being coddled and treated like they're special, that's probably true for a lot of these guys. But some of these things that he's mentioning, consistency, selflessness, discipline, to some people might be a little bit more difficult to get across. I don't think he comes across a lot of guys like that. Like me personally, I mean, from what I've seen from, you know, the guys that we brought in thus far, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, even when we got Lonnie Walker, I don't think it was really that difficult to instill some of these things with them. And some of the things like selflessness and discipline, that's like one of the main tenets that makes you a San Antonio Spur. So just from my, you know, opinion, just my opinion, it doesn't really seem as if the Spurs have a tough time finding guys that have some of those qualities. But sure, you know, it's some guys that do need some of those things and that tough love. And I just absolutely love what Popovich is saying here. Now, this is what's kind of making headlines, though. So as we can see here, Gregg Popovich, nobody should go to Vegas and bet on Spurs to win NBA title. I think all of us know this, but it was kind of funny to hear him say it. So he starts off by saying, I probably shouldn't say this. And he proceeds to say it.
But I'll say it anyway. What the hell? Nobody here should go to Vegas with the thought of betting on us to win the championship. And I know somebody will say, gosh, what a Debbie Downer. There's a chance. What if they work really hard? It's probably not going to happen.
True. You know those people that come out and they always say like, oh, you got loser mentality. The Spurs have loser mentality. It's like no one has loser mentality. That's just something you made up. All it is the reality of the situation. You work hard, you grow so you can get to that point. But these players, they do have to understand that getting to that point, a championship caliber team, is so tough to do. Like, that's why it really irritated me this summer. I'm glad that Brian Wright went ahead and made a lot of great decisions, because I got really irritated with Spurs fans, particularly on Twitter, yes, be real, that basically said, oh, the Spurs need to go all out on some of these players so we can be a championship team again. Yes, get DeAndre Ayton and get Zach LaVine and keep DJ, and we're going to be a championship team. And I did not see that as a championship team. I don't dislike any of these players. Not like I'm like, oh, all these players trash. No, they're good. But that's not, it takes so much. It makes me feel as if Spurs fans, in a way, have forgotten how tough and difficult it was to win our championships. Particularly our last championship. 2014 was so tough. Do you guys remember the type of basketball that they had to play to get to the finals and win against a super team? It was difficult. Not only that, you had like 3 former superstars and 1 superstar on that team, or at least upcoming superstar. Like, you had a lot of talent, you had a lot of high IQ. It takes a lot, especially being a small market team. It takes a lot. Can they do it? Sure, but let's not just act like anybody that comes in is Tim Duncan, Manu, Kawhi, and Tony. Let's not do that, okay? But with that being said, I do believe in Josh Primo. All right, proceed, your boy Popovich.
But that's not the point. And very honestly, I could care less. You all know what I care about, so I won't bore you to death. But the point is to develop this group and give them the best possible opportunity to have long NBA careers and enjoy the hell out of it. And whoever comes after me will have an opportunity to take them to the next level.
Pop, it sounds like Pop is already talking about retirement. Honestly, I would not be shocked if after this season Pop is gone. The more I think about it, the more I sit back and just look at the situation, I wouldn't be surprised. Pop would probably go into the front office or something like that. But he's definitely kind of trying to put the next coach in a good position. Honestly, I really want to see what we get out of Candace Dupree. I think that's going to be pretty interesting, because she has a really good career, and she really knows basketball. So we'll see. I know she's like part of player development, and there's so many other coaches we have too. But we'll just wait and see what happens there. But yeah, Pop is just trying to keep it real, man. He's just being 120% honest that this team is not going to win a championship. Honestly, I would add on to it and say they're not even going to make the playoffs. But we'll wait and see. But come on, let's be real. But kudos to Pop for being honest, and he actually has always been open about this as well. The fact that he never goes into seasons thinking, oh no, we have to win a championship, or it's championship or bust. Not necessarily. Okay, I know a lot of people kind of have this thought process, and I used to have this, and I'm gonna sound really I'm gonna sound like I'm talking down to people, okay? But I'm really not. But I used to have this mentality in middle school where the Spurs would lose. Even in high school, I had this mentality. The Spurs would lose, and I would get so angry. And I would get angry that Popovich isn't angry. And I would get angry that the team isn't angry and the players aren't angry. And then I kind of realized after time, like, it's not necessarily about that. Like, for a fan, it is about that. But when it comes to these guys, yelling at your team, if Pop just got angry after they lost all the time and just yelled at everybody, that's not how you win championships. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. You need guys to be able to get along. You need a comfortable environment, and you need guys to hold each other accountable and be adults. So it's not some high school team or some middle school team where you just yell at your players all the time, just get angry all the time. It's not like that. You don't have to be that way. All you have to do is go in, do your job, hold each other accountable. Popovich coaches his butt off every single season. Continue to teach, and the championships will come. And obviously, you got to get the talent, okay? Victor Wembanyama, you got to get the talent. But at the end of the day, it's not about yelling at your players or getting super angry about everything, or it's championship or but. No, that's silly mentality, and you don't help anybody that way. I would even argue that even in college, high school, and middle school, you don't really help your team that much for yelling at them for losing or anything. Like, Popovich has the right approach. He understands the bigger picture. He does have in the back of his mind, like, yeah, I want these guys to be able to win a championship one day. But by him kind of prioritizing the player first, I think that it helps us in the long run. And he's always been open about that. He's always said that what he cares most about is guys getting their money, having a successful career. He said the same thing about Bryn Forbes. He said the same thing about Danny Green. That's all he cares about. And everything just kind of follows. And that's why he's the greatest coach of all time. But anyways, I kind of ranted a little bit. I hope that soliloquy I went on actually made sense. But that's just how I feel about it. And I think that we need to kind of expand the way that we view this team, because there's too many people that just get angry and say loser mentality. You have to always be angry. You have to always try to win. It's like, yeah, they're trying to win. But at the end of the day, these are people, and you have to prioritize them in order to get the job done. Okay. The approach that the Spurs have had over these, several years has helped us tremendously. And we've gotten some really good players out of it, and guys have really been able to develop from that approach. So you have to keep it that way. You have to keep the players first. And if we lose, sucks. And I'll be upset. But I mean, getting overly angry and saying no, that's all it's about, and not even thinking about the person dribbling the basketball, that's not really a good idea. Especially for us, especially for our coaching staff. And just to be honest, it takes a lot of camaraderie for the San Antonio Spurs to be a successful team, because we're a small market and we're not going to have a bunch of superstars ever, really. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. But anyways, I'll get with you guys later, man. You want to support the channel, only $2 per month. Patreon and YouTube links below. And, Clan the Merch Fan, man. Get yourself some merch. Go on over to the site, Clan the Merch Fan, and see if there's anything that you like. But yeah. Oh, and one last thing, and this is kind of off topic because it just came across my mind. Another thing, a lot of people say, well, you said that we can't have a bunch of superstars on the team, or more than likely you're not going to get a bunch of superstars. But what about Tony Parker? What about Manu Ginobili? Can I just say this really quick? And I've said this quite a few times before, but this is my thought process on those two. Okay. Obviously they were steals. Obviously, at some point in their careers, they were superstars. Obviously, right? We all agree there. But the problem with that mindset that a lot of people have nowadays when it comes to like, oh, we can just get somebody late in the draft, or we can just get a star in the middle of the draft. Drafting process has gotten so much better over the years till that's not necessarily viable. Like, it's not going to happen anymore. Manu Ginobili, it's going to be super rare. Okay, maybe you got Jokic, but it's super rare. Okay, if Manu Ginobili was in the modern NBA, or in the modern like college, or he was playing in Argentina right now, and he was going into the NBA draft, he wouldn't have gone that far down. He would have been top. It's just that the Spurs at the time was ahead of their time. Okay, and they're still draft super well, but it's completely different. Okay, Manu Ginobili in this last draft would have been like a lottery pick. Okay, I'm telling you, drafting has just gotten so much better over the years. So I don't really care for that argument too much, where we just kind of fixate over our old drafting guys. No, it's way different now. Okay, it's just way different. But I don't know. I don't know why I went on that rant. I'll give it to you guys later. I love Pop. Until next time. Bye.